wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quench the thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic. Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah. I've been doing this, I'm on it. I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it. You know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic. Keep them out your face, no way, you don't want them, yeah. Don't try to drain my energy. The enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me. I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this. Freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus. Living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it. Go on and take your aim. Yeah. Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the gas, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. Yeah.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective, in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train.
What is going on, Hive? We're strictly business tonight on this stream. I mean, to say that there has been massive booms in the Idaho 4 case is an understatement. I saw a comment on my YouTube video, or obviously my YouTube video, on my live when I got done last night. And it was from Sherlock Romes, and it was like, Birdie, check your email. And I got an email that, what would you call it? when coincidence isn't even in the same universe? Do you call it like a forensic level explosion of whatever we've been told in the narrative? I don't know, but buckle up tonight because this is the stream that needs to get out to everybody. This stream will show you and will be able to have anybody else go look into things that they can visually reference in a video, in a court document, and what the police officers themselves have said. And it will show you, I know we're not breaking this news, but it will show you that Bryan Kohberger's car was not suspect vehicle 1. Down to the second. Down to the second, Hive. So, with that being said, I want to see who's all tuned in tonight. UFO Dog, good to see you. Beck says, I call it truth. Nick says, I call it fate. Inside Your Bones says, mind reading. What Hood Fairy, what's going on? Good to see you. Belinda, I love you too. Thank you, Karen. I feel like I had to step up the intensity of the music for this stream. Just because, again, it's going to be a stream of strictly business where it's not speculating tonight. It's not speculating tonight. War Eagle, Bo. What's going on? Catch you on the flip side. Nicole, what up? Chantilly Lace. I agree, Robin. River Bear Teacup. Festive. Marcy C. Don't even get me started on it. I feel like I need to use like the Oliver Anthony voice of like, it's a damn shame. Because it's such a shame. It's just such a shame. They knew it. And it's obvious they knew it. What's up, 1111? 509 Sandra and Tooney. What's going on? Shorty Gem. Mercedes Marie, good to see you. Brooke said, I thought yesterday was Tuesday. Pammy B's tuning in from Saskatchewan. Yeah, the music was hype today. That's awesome, Beck. Oh, that's funny. Brittany's in Oklahoma. Dallas. What's going on, Mike? That's hilarious. I'd love that. Woman Power, good to see you. Mary Coleman's tuning in from New Jersey. Catch you on the flip sides in Texas, Alabama, War Eagle, Oklahoma, Florida, Ohio. Straya, mate. Delmont, Pennsylvania, also Dallas. New Zealand's in the hive. Beaver County, Pennsylvania. Naples, Florida. Arkansas, Oklahoma. UFO Dogs in our usual place. Berdino's basement, Indiana. You know, I was at the vet today. Not to be a Debbie Downer. Nothing terrible happened, but one of my cats was like wheezing and like excessively grooming herself. And I looked it up and it was like, check to see if the cat's gums are miscolored. So I'm trying to like look at this cat's gums and I'm like, holy shit. This is like ChatGPT, Google are like, you need to get to the vet immediately. So I'm calling this place. I drop everything, take my cat to the vet just to have my cat attack the vet and not be able to do any sort of exam unless I wanted to pay like $1,000 to sedate it on the spot. I'm like, well, do you see anything? Like, she seems very active. She seems scared. She seems like she's not in any pain. And then I was telling her about the gums, and turns out apparently if you have like calico cat, their gums can match the pattern of their fur. So it's probably just a hairball. So that's how my day went, Hive. So anyways, to say that we have a good stream lined up tonight is an understatement. And I saw a couple of super chats come in, so let me just acknowledge those. as I'm always grateful. Aurora, good to see you. Thank you so much. And Nicole D, thank you so much. So, all right, let's get into it. As always, I've been plugging the Substack and the Discord. Click subscribe on my YouTube channel, then click more, scroll down. All my links for where you can find my Substack. You can join our Discord. I have my TikTok on there. Now, we do have High Mind merch available. To be honest, this was put together by Mrs. Birdie, and I'm extremely grateful for her doing that. And it's great, and I love it. And, you know, we designed some hoodies and stuff together. I am putting a request out. It's about time the Hive, not that this isn't like cool merch, but I just feel like we can do better. Like we can get like some really, really awesome merch. So I'm putting out a formalized request or an open request. Just reach out to me, birdiebombshell00@gmail.com, and help me get an awesome line of merch set up for the Hive. We'll still keep it, you know, price to sell where it's going to be priced to just cover shipping and taxes. I'm not here to make money off it. I just think it'd be awesome if we can actually have something where you can wear it out, wear it with pride. So, anyways, it doesn't just have to be clothing. It could be anything. But I am sincerely asking. So thank you in advance. Question of the day, and I'm not trying to rush through this. I just can't wait to get to this stuff. I'm very, very excited. Cat's Mojo, and as a reminder, you can submit a Discord question of the day. Cat's Mojo and a few other people have been on it, but just so everybody's aware, that is in the Discord. There's a thread that Dawn created. Now, this is an interesting question because there's a few ways you could go with it. They ask, if you were able to interview Bryan one-on-one, what would your top 3 questions be for him? Does anybody want to guess what my first question for Bryan would be? And I feel like you take like building rapport and trying to, you know, talk. It's just you walk in, you sit down. What are you saying to him? Because I want to see if, yeah, walk in. What's Gucci, my Louie? Exactly. Yep. Are you guilty? Did you do it? That is right. That is exactly what my first question would be. Then I feel like my second one would have to be like on a scale of 1 to 10. Actually, like on a scale of like 1 to DoorDash driver, how reliable did you think the PCA was? And I don't really know of a third one. It could maybe riff off of the sentencing hearing where the G family was going at his education, and you kind of be like, was there anything taught in criminology on how to not end up in a true crime documentary on Netflix in the next decade? I don't know. But or why'd you plead guilty? Yeah. Why'd you buy an Elantra? Oh, that's hilarious. That's a top dog question right there. Obviously, there are much better questions that you could ask. I kind of like to answer these Discord questions of the day, kind of off the just shooting from the hip. So let's get into the Hive Mind finds here. This first one, this was interesting, and it caught my eye when I was editing the live into the shortened version. So as a reminder, I do these live streams. If you want to watch these full streams, when you go to my channel, or unless it pops up on your page and you're subscribed to me, you have to go and click the live tab. Then you'll see all these lives. I see some questions about this in the comments. If you want to watch the shortened, usually about 40 minutes, the shortened version of it, you can just look on the normal video page, which is the page that you'll end up on when you click on my channel. So when I was editing the shortened version of the stream for last night, I came across an interesting comment, and it piqued my interest because I just thought this was honestly really sweet, and I don't know the meaning behind it, but it caught my eye, so I screenshotted it, and I'm not sure what it means, but I thought it was cool that Noel had asked me She says, Birdie, could you please at some point yell, hey, Kiki, look, it's me. So I will do so. And I'm not sure the tone to use, but I'll just say, hey, Kiki, look, it's me. And I just wanted to make sure that I did that because I did see that. And I wanted to put that before the rest of these bombshell hive mind finds. So I don't know if you see that, Noel, but I did it. I saw it. So, all right. Let's get into the hive mind finds. This entire hive mind find section moving forward, I have to give the credit to Sherlock Holmes for passing this information on to me. And this is the beauty of people working together on the internet and not scratching and clawing and God knows whatever you want to call it. So, because when you don't do that and you actually take in other content, you take in other alt theories, you take in other alt news, look at what was accomplished. So this is from Sherlock Holmes, and he was piecing together stuff from Pavarotti. I'm actually just going to read his stuff. I'm just going to read this email as this is on screen, but I have a lot of the details. So Sherlock said, Birdie, this is huge, and I think it warrants mention on stream. The hypothesis is that the vehicle making all the vulture passes around 1122 King Road that night was not suspect vehicle 1. It was the undercover Ford Fusion the entire time. Now, I had known that. I had seen that. Like I said, I don't believe that this is breaking news right now. But the ability that we're going to have right now to see the deltas or the timestamps match up to the second is unbelievable. And a little bit of a background. Again, this is from Sherlock. He says, a creator named J.M. Bree put this together from Officer Tisdale's recently released police report. He describes surveillance passes they did on Linda Lane. And his description is beat for beat the same path of travel as so-called suspect vehicle 1. He also noted that around this time window, the purported DoorDash driver told police she saw a silver sedan drive by her on Queen Road at the same minute that so-called suspect vehicle 1 makes their final pass at 3:57 a.m. This is per the Linda Lane parking lot camera. He further notes that Tisdale had to have lied about the time window his identical undercover passes took place. In his report, he states that they made those passes between 2 and 3 a.m. Now, this is one of the booms. This cannot be true because there are no such passes in that hour of any sedan between 2 and 3 a.m. caught on that camera. And to really drive home the point, Molly's description of who she saw at that time matches Officer Tisdale to a T. So Pavarotti began hypothesizing that the undercovers must have subtracted an hour and some change from their Banfield body cam to cover for this fact. That so-called suspect vehicle 1 was indeed them in their hybrid Ford Fusion instead. So I decided to put that hypothesis to the test. Please watch my latest video. I break down exactly how I believe they did it, and it all matches down to the second. So, like I said, Sherlock Holmes is owning this hive mind finds. The rest of these slides, I got his video queued up. And what I tried to do here on screen is give you guys the main bullet points as far as what he's saying. So, to continue on reading his hypothesis, and we will watch the video that'll visualize it. The undercovers subtracted exactly 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds from the Banfield body cam. I figured this out by calculating the delta between the time Molly arrived in the back parking lot of 1122 versus the exact timestamp the Banfield body cam turns on. It was exactly 1 hour, 7 minutes. Excuse me. It was exactly 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds. Then I tested it again with a vehicle that passes by dumpster cam at 4:19 a.m. to see if the math worked. To see if the math worked out to be the same car we see passing the undercover officers at approximately 3:13 a.m. The car passes the dumpster at 4:19 a.m. The car passes the body cam at 3:12 a.m. It's the same delta, meaning that the difference, as you see on screen, is 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds. Do you guys realize how crazy that is? That is insane. That's insane. Then, so Sherlock continues. Then I applied the same methodology to calculate the time delta of the time missing from 4 a.m. dumpster cam. Adding up all the time missing after 3:30 a.m. equals precisely 7 minutes and 26 seconds. So I'm going to read that again, because this is where, when I started reading this part of the email, my head was just spinning in a good way. Then, so I'm going to repeat that. Then I applied the same methodology to calculate the time delta of the time missing from 4 a.m. dumpster cam. Adding up all the time missing after 3:30 a.m. equals precisely, and he put precisely in all caps, 7 minutes and 26 seconds. And then I remembered that in May of 2024 hearing, Ann Taylor mentioned that the state had subtracted approximately 7 minutes from when Bryan left WSU that night, and when he had allegedly, quote unquote, turned off his cell phone. Ann said that in the hearing, quote, "Don't get caught up in thinking that 7 minutes doesn't matter here." The state originally alleged that BK left his apartment at 2:42 a.m. and turned off his phone at 2:47 a.m. But by the time 2024 came around, they changed that time to him shutting off his phone at 2:54 instead. Again, a time delta of precisely 7 minutes and 26, or I'm sorry, 7 minutes and 26 seconds. This cannot all be a coincidence. It's been a while since I've said that. A coincidence is a mathematical term. It means to coincide, and that is that two angles cannot fit together any other way. It's exact. So the last part here is, it's quite possible Pavarotti and my math chops may have solved this timeline of the case. Pav further identified specific motions for discovery filed in June of 2025, which pointed to Ann Taylor figuring this out and demanding the filed time testing of where the undercover Ford Fusion was exactly at that night. And there were even some court documents filed by Brett Payne, which describes some field testing he conducted to see if suspect vehicle 1 was truly the undercover Ford Fusion the whole time. And that's because Molly had said that the vehicle looked a little bit tan. So Payne took that Ford Fusion out till the streetlights came on to see if the silver under the streetlight would look tan. And in his report, concurs. Yes, it does. And he finishes with, "So we may have cracked the case, baby. Tisdale and Rosendale have been sweating buckets right about now." And just unbelievable job, Sherlock, Pav, everybody else that's dove into it, because I mean, I have goosebumps right now on my legs. Like, that is just, it's an unbelievable, methodical, forensic timeline breakdown. It's insane. It's maddening, but yet awesome that people figured this out at the same time. I mean, cheers to you guys. That's the GOAT. That's the top dog. I mean, and we're going to watch this video. I feel honored that Sherlock Holmes was on the last Hive Mind Roundtable. On top of being incredibly smart and well-spoken and just very thought-provoking conversations, he's a great, genuine dude. So shout out to you, Sherlock. And I'm shocked. I'm shocked because you know what? This is the stream where if you would tune in and you would listen to this, and even if you just listen to this last slide that I have here. So if you correct the body cam clock, those runners that you see at 3:12 a.m., their real time is 4:19. 1 hour and 7 minutes, 26 seconds later, which is the exact moment the state says the murders ended. And the path that they're running, it's the King Taylor cut through. They went straight from the front door of 1122 to the Banfield, right past the Ford Fusion, where we all saw those shadowy figures run by. Boom. It's a vape drop instead of a mic drop because this thing's attached, but Jesus. That is as many booms as I could fit on the screen. Yes, and I'm aware that Pav is the one who uncovered it, and Sherlock Holmes was very, very crystal clear about that. I've been very, very crystal clear about that. And it's okay to share other people's great work. So, yeah, okay. And all that he did was test the theory. Jeez, dude. Give them all some credit. I mean, geez, this is a huge win for the people that are calling out corruption. It's so now what we have to argue about how it happened, and now somebody finds something out, and it's like, well, all they did was this. Give me a break. This should be celebrated. This is, you know what I mean? This is a big deal, and I'm not specifically coming at one person, but I'm just saying, like, yes, the credit is being given to where credit is due to those people, and I would say from what I've heard of Sherlock talk, I mean, he's a very open guy about, I saw this and then I tested it and I did that and I tested it. Like that's a great thought process. And I would encourage more people to do that. So shout out to Jay and Bree, shout out to Sherlock Holmes, shout out to everybody who's looked into this. Pretty much shout out to anybody that has not looked at this case, read the headlines, and then stuck their head right back in their ass and went about their day. Because if you question this case and you stuck to your guns on this, that is, you were tested. You were tested all over social media. I got an email or I saw a comment where somebody just posted a comment in a mainstream type channel, and they were like, I was deleted the comment. I was just getting attacked. And you look at the videos that people are putting out now still, and it's like, wait, hang on. How are you not knowing any of this? How are you looking at these police reports and saying Bryan had his next victim picked out, and oh my God, this is so much worse than what we thought? And it's like, well, yeah, it is worse than what we thought. It's nothing what you thought, to put it bluntly. Thank you so much, Hood Fairy, for the 1999 super chat. You rock. An OG TikTok hiver right there. And an awesome username. I think that's so cool. Moto Man says it would make sense why they found a jacket and an item near the fire extinguisher. Everything's going to start to make sense. Part of me wonders if there was an aspect of this case or a conversation that was ever had behind closed doors. Doesn't matter on the defense or the prosecution, but I would be very, very curious if at least at one point throughout this trial and this case, did it come up, the public's going to eventually figure this out too. The second we put this out, they're going to figure it out. So now that we have this, I mean, there's been cracks in the dam, folks, but the water's starting to shoot through that crack, and the dam will burst. The dam is going to burst. Tooth Sleuth, thank you so much. I appreciate you turning in. We got a lot of awesome usernames in here. Catchy usernames. So I don't know. Is Sherlock in here right now? If he is. Yeah. Well, how dare you comment on that, woman power? Shame. I mean, yeah, give me a break is right. So now the question becomes, were they allowed to shave off an hour and some change? Is that legal? No. Did they hide it? Yes. Did they know from the second that Payne went out to the Queen Road looked at it underneath the streetlights, meaning he took the Ford Fusion out there and looked at it underneath the streetlights to see if it looks a little bit tan, and then confirmed it, he knew. I don't know what to say. I don't know why any single police officer would cover that up. And then let's say that they gave a reason for why they had to. Then I still can't wrap my head around, well, then why would you not tell the public at this point? Because the narrative has been speculated on, not just by the internet conspiracy theorists, by the biggest media companies in the world. At the end of the day, they were speculating too. They were doing what we were doing. Theirs was just the emotionally palatable, pull on your heartstrings speculation. Ours was the tinfoil hat and getting down into the trenches, the nitty gritty of the facts and the case and the real theories that could have possibly happened. Botched investigations happen. But then, you know what? Botched investigations happen. Come clean about it. I've never seen a situation like this where telling the truth is the worst option. I don't get it. And then to also attack the public who does question it. When these cops knew. They knew. And then they knew that we knew. And then we knew that they knew that we knew. Hang on. I didn't even try to do that. We knew that they knew that we knew. They lied. They're covering something up. And I think, Les, there's always that option too. Yeah, corruption, Phoenix, it's cover up. What do you do with info you receive? Do you pass it on to people like AT? Do you think Bryan will appeal? I'm going to be honest. I've never sent anything to Ann Taylor because most of the stuff that I've gotten, anything that's like a document that I really, really, I guess, if I would have found it, I would have probably sent it. I've been CC'd on a lot of stuff that's emailed to Ann and other creators. So more formalized documents. Yeah, I was talking about this with Devil's Advocates last night as far as the appeal goes, because I see some people are talking in here about, Toothless saying praying for an appeal. If you were Bryan, see, here's what I want to ask the Hive. This is an actual conversation that I feel like we can have now that this Delta has come out publicly. In what world would Bryan Kohberger not be aware of this? Ann Taylor would have told Bryan that. Bryan also knows that he's not suspect vehicle 1, right? You guys got to understand now at this point, Bryan has maintained his innocence. Ann Taylor says that he was innocent. In addition to the IGG chain of custody, in addition to all the other things that we've ranted on and on about, now we find out about this. And Ann Taylor back in May of 2024 was saying, don't think that those 7 minutes don't matter. So then, yes, the real question goes to, why the hell did he take that plea deal? Well, is it to set up legal assistance? Is it a public-facing show trial, but behind closed doors? It's a different deal. Who knows? Who knows? But I do not believe that Bryan was unaware of this. So I think I just saw Sherlock's name pop up and he said, yeah, that's exactly it. It literally can't be Bryan. It is not his car. The car that you see driving around is an undercover policeman. The same policeman that's on the body cam footage that we've watched hundreds of times with the Banfield interaction. And the other mind-blowing thing is, how crazy is it that those undercover cops seem to stop in that place where they found those kids crossing, and we see their car parked on the side of the road, the silver car. Okay, they must literally follow that route and park there and stop and wait and watch the Banfield or whatever they do, because there's so much confusion about the headlights on the trees with the Elantra and, you know, suspect vehicle 1. And the cops themselves say it's a busy area at all times of the nights, and we're going off of headlights on trees. This is the biggest disgrace of the justice system. And it's also one of the biggest disgraces of the justice system from a public facing societal, I don't even know how to say it, but as society, to be split and not scream from the rooftops, innocent until proven guilty. I have said on streams so many times, we were talking about the DNA. We were talking about the PCA not making sense. I've said in a quote, this is how wrongful convictions happen. We are watching a wrongful conviction play out in real time. Do you guys realize that it literally cannot be Bryan Kohberger in that car? And when did we ever see Bryan Kohberger inside the car? That was kind of what we would say before, but now we know that from the police reports, their own reporting, Brett Payne's own reporting, Tisdale, Rosendahl, all these guys, they knew that they were confusing suspect vehicle 1 with the silver Ford Fusion by the Banfield. And I will go ahead and I will play Sherlock's video. I have it queued up here. If you guys don't subscribe to Sherlock, this is his channel.
Welcome back to Rebel Headquarters, my rebels. So, I'm making this video to complement Jay Embry's videos, Pavarotti's videos. He has gone over a lot of the newly released police reports, and I think he's shown us a lot of really good things. He claims that he has proven that the vulture passes of suspect vehicle 1 around the Linda Lane cut through and around 112 King Road were actually the undercovers in the Ford Fusion the whole time. And he claims he's proven this with the court documents, among other ways of proving it. And I agree. I actually agree with that. I think he's right. I think Ann Taylor knew that. I think she sniffed it out close to June 29th. And I think other things happened that derailed everything into a plea deal. But I think he's right about that. I think that's a totally plausible hypothesis. In addition to that, Pavarotti purported another hypothesis. And by the way, this is just a hypothesis. Okay, not everybody's right all the time. There's no need to mess anyone's panties over a hypothesis. But he purported another hypothesis that, hey, perhaps the undercovers in their Ford Fusion subtracted an hour from the Banfield body cam to throw off the time and to cover their asses and make it look like they were somewhere else, when really they were up on Queen and King Road with Molly during the time of the crimes. So I thought that was a very interesting hypothesis, and I started digging into it myself, and I found some stuff. I found some stuff that might complement that hypothesis of the subtracted hour. Now, I know that this is controversial. I've already seen some posts from other Idaho 4 creators saying, well, you know, I don't think they would subtract an hour from the Banfield body cam. I think the Banfield.
Of course you wouldn't, because you like to think that nobody would ever do anything nefarious to cover up a giant screw up in a quadruple homicide that's been on the world news. And then the entire world is at your doorstep asking questions. And you guys say, oh shit, who we thought was Bryan Kohberger was us. Do you realize how long it took for people to realize that it was an hour off? Oh, I don't think they would do that. Yeah, just like you probably don't think that the CIA would dose people with LSD and do MK Ultra shit on them either. Just like you don't think that. I'm not going to. I'll stop. You guys know where I'm going with that.
that this is controversial.
It just seems to be a trend in people like that's life. Okay. That they'll always stick their nose up to critical thinking on why it could have happened. But when somebody still shows it to them, it's like, well, yeah, I don't know. And they'll point out like the most minuscule thing that really doesn't even diminish the point.
I've already seen some posts from other Idaho 4 creators saying, well, I don't think they would subtract an hour from the Banfield body cam. I think the Banfield body cam is true time. Okay, that's fine. Then we disagree. I agree with Pavarotti. I think.
Sorry, I'm going to stop doing this. But then the officer's report is not accurate. He didn't make any passes. We can look at the camera footage. There is not a single pass of that vehicle from 2 to 3 a.m. So what else would it be?
They subtracted an hour. And I'm going to show you at least do the courtesy of allowing me to show you what I found. Please, at least do me that courtesy. Okay, so let me show you what I found. When I wanted to test that hypothesis, I decided I would simply take the timestamp of when the body cam starts on Banfield, and I would compare it to the timestamp of when Molly arrived up on King Road and see what the delta is. What is that delta? And once we have that time delta, then perhaps if we find other inconsistencies between true hour and false hour, and we can get 2 other timestamps between true hour and false hour and measure that time delta, do the deltas match? And how many times, and if the hypothesis is correct, we should be able to do this with every inconsistency we find. Every time we find an inconsistency between true time and true hour and false hour, we should be able to measure that delta, and that delta should match at least down to the minute. Maybe not down to the second, but at least it should match down to the minute. And if so, then I think it's plausible that Pavarotti's hypothesis about the hour being subtracted from the Banfield body cam could be true, possibly. So let me show you what I found. Let me walk you through it. I have 3 different time deltas to show you. The first delta, Molly is, according to the police reports, Molly arrives at 3:45 a.m. She pulls into the Queen Road neighborhood and she stops. She stops in front of 1122 King Road. She's really confused. She doesn't know what's going on. She wants to deliver this food, but she doesn't know where to go. She's looking for the numbers she needs to see on the house, but she can't see it for some reason, which seems weird to me. This is the story that they've given us. I don't think this really happened, probably, but let's go with their story. She can't see the numbers. She's playing peekaboo with somebody up in the window. She's looking at her GPS. It's telling her to go somewhere else, and she's just kind of confused, and she's sitting in front of the house, and this takes some time. So we're going to approximate that amount of time, and then we're going to do a time delta. I'll show you. So there she goes. She drives to the back of the house. She follows her GPS. Oh, look at that. Looks like a silver sedan following right behind her right after she arrived at 3:45 a.m., which is interesting. The police report does say that happened, but there's some confusion about whether it really did or not. But anyway, so there she is. She's in the back of the house, okay? And she's going to end up walking down the street, and there's all this time missing, right? Pavarotti talks about her seeing Tisdale, but that happens at 3:57 a.m. And she just parked behind the house like a minute and some seconds later. So there's this 11-minute gap. Like, what are they doing in this 11 minutes? I don't know. But for our purposes of testing Jay Embry's hypothesis about the hour missing from the body cam, what we're going to simply do is approximate the amount of time it took for Molly to get through her confused, shock phase and get up to the back of the house. All right, so I think it's pretty accurate to say this probably took about a minute and 27 seconds or 86 seconds altogether. So that's what we're going to start with. Let's do that, okay? She arrives at 3:45 a.m. and she was confused, and it took her about 1 minute and 27 seconds or 86 seconds according to the stopwatch. All right, I think that's a good approximation, but it's just an approximation. But we'll use that. We'll use that as to calculate our first delta. Okay, so let's do that. let's use that to calculate our first delta. So we have fixed point in time A, all right, adding 1 minute and 27 seconds to 3:45 a.m., which brings us to 3:46 a.m. and 27 seconds. That's fixed point in time A. Okay, everybody, fixed point in time A. And then for fixed point in time B, we're going to use right when the body cam turns on, which is a 2:53 a.m. and 53 seconds. Okay, so these are our two times. What is the time delta between 3:46 a.m. and 27 seconds and 2:53 a.m. and 53 seconds? Let's do the math. What is the time delta? Now, I've done the math 1,000 times over. I'm correct. I've done it over and over again. The time delta is exactly 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds. That's our big answer, okay? So we've calculated the time delta, 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds. So let's think about this. To test Pavarotti's hypothesis, if we find any other inconsistencies between true hour and false hour, and we get a fixed point in time A and another fixed point in time B, like we just did, and we take that delta, well, if Pavarotti's right, then the delta should line up at least to the minute, maybe not to the exact second, but it should be at least 1 hour and 7 minutes or close to 1 hour and 7 minutes. So let's try that. Let's go ahead and do that. But before we do, let's talk to you doubters out there, the people who doubt this hypothesis, the people who say, I would never believe this. This is the dumbest hypothesis. Nobody would ever believe this. And I would never believe this. And I wouldn't date a girl who would. All right, let's talk to you people. So here we are at Dumpster Cam.
Okay, that deserves to go back and hear that again. That was funny.
Go ahead and do that. But before we do, let's talk to you doubters out there, the people who doubt this hypothesis, the people who say, I would never believe this. This is the dumbest hypothesis. Nobody would ever believe this. And I would never believe this. And I wouldn't date a girl who would. All right, let's talk to you people. So here we are at Dumpster Cam in the 3 a.m. hour. Okay, everything's normal. Nobody subtracted an hour from body cam. We're about to see a car come pass. If you guys are right, then this car we're about to see pass here any second now. There it is, 3:12:01, 3:12 a.m. in 1 second it passes. So that car that we just saw pass Dumpster Cam should be this same car right here, right? Passing the Banfield body cam at 3:12 a.m. and 13 seconds.
Dude, lost girl. Top dog comment. Because also at 3:51 a.m., Dylan put a new contact number in, and she was supposed to have been asleep. I don't know what to say. This is incredible. It's incredible. It's mind-blowing. Yes, Namastala, this is real proof. They knew it wasn't BK. They set him up, or he was in the feds and he was taking the fall for a giant operation. Like the lying, the narrative BS, the cleanliness of the lies too, the no repercussions for him speaks volumes.
Seconds. Keep an eye on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen and you'll see the car pass right at 3:12 a.m. and 13 seconds. Boom, there it is. 3:12 a.m. and 13 seconds. What does that tell us, guys? That tells us it takes 12 seconds to drive from Dumpster Cam to the Taylor Ave fire hydrant. It takes 12 seconds. So that seems to match up pretty good for all the doubters. That looks pretty good for all the doubters. I just wanted to go over that real quick and just add some balance to my hypothesis testing here and just show you that. Like it seems to add up in the 3 a.m. hour. And yeah, it does take 12 seconds to drive between that point and the fire hydrant. So just wanted to show you that. Now back to our test hypothesis. If Pavarotti is right about his hypothesis, then in the 4 here, we're at dumpster cam 4 a.m. hour now, there should be a car passing that is actually that car that passes the body cam. And if we match the time deltas, it should be roughly at least the same delta, at least down to the hour and minute. So let's test it out. Is there a car that's going to be coming by dumpster cam anytime soon here? Right now we're at 4:19 a.m. and I see some headlights. Here we go. Yep, I see a car coming. It's 4:19 a.m. and it goes by right there. It goes by at 4:19 a.m. and 27 seconds.
Wow.
So could that possibly be the car we see on Banfield body cam? Well, let's test it, right? It should be. If Pavarotti's right, it should be. The deltas should match. So let's do that. Let's test delta number 2. The car seen on Banfield body cam passes the officers at Taylor Fire Hydrant at exactly 3:12 a.m. and 13 seconds, which I already showed you. And then we saw a car in the 4 a.m. hour of dumpster cam pass by the dumpster cam exactly at 4:19 a.m. and 27 seconds. So there's our 2 points in time, point A and point B. Let's take the delta between them. What is the delta between these two times? It should come down to at least the same hour and minute if Pavarotti is correct. So let's do the math, and I've done the math 1,000 times over. You can check my work if you want. But yes, it is, the delta is exactly 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 14 seconds. It's so close. Our first delta was 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds. And this delta is 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 14 seconds. Isn't that something? It's so close. But wait, I believe I might have missed a variable here. These aren't two fixed points in times like we did in delta 1 example. This is delta 2 example. These aren't two fixed points in times. There's another variable we have to account for, which I just showed you in the 3 a.m. hour. And that is the 12 seconds that it takes to actually drive past dumpster cam and then arrive at the Taylor Ave fire hydrant past the undercovers. And we just saw that takes 12 seconds. So there you go. We have to account for that variable. Let's add in that 12 seconds to our delta and see what the final delta is. Well, wouldn't you know it, 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 14 seconds plus 12 seconds is exactly 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds, down to the second. So our delta 1 example was also 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds. And now we see here that this could be the same car in the 4 a.m. hour that we're seeing on the Banfield body cam with Pav's hypothesis, because the delta matches down to the second, baby. 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds. Go ahead and check my work if you want. It's right. Okay. Now, that should solve it, right? I mean, if we're finding other inconsistencies between false hour and true hour, and the deltas we're measuring are exactly the same down to the second, that should at least get you interested in this hypothesis. In my opinion, it proves it. But look, if that's not enough for you,
It's
if
enough.
that doesn't seal the
It's
deal
enough.
for you, let's just do something else. Let's see if we can get a third delta to match. And for that, let's just look at the time missing after 3:30 a.m. on dumpster cam. There's that time cut, remember? The time period of 3:30 a.m. and 37 seconds is missing all the way up to 4 a.m. and 6 seconds and 49 seconds. So that's quite a time cut, right? So what we do to test this delta, what we would want to do is add up all the time missing after 3:30 a.m. so that you can see what's really missing after 4 a.m. And remember, this works with Pavarotti's hypothesis. He is hypothesizing that the hour is missing. The delta we're talking about is between 0300 and 0400. This time cut happens right at 4 a.m. So that would be 6 minutes and 49 seconds. And then we're adding up all the time after 3:30 a.m. We got to include that 37 seconds at the top there. And when we do that, 6 minutes and 49 seconds plus 37 seconds, hot damn, would you know it? It comes right out to 7 minutes and 26 seconds exactly, again, down to the second. Now I know what you're thinking. What about the 1 hour? Well, we're not dealing with a body cam here. So for this delta measurement, we don't have to worry about the hour. We're just looking at the minutes and seconds. And yes, if you add up all the time after 3:30 a.m. that's missing in the 4 o'clock hour, it comes to exactly 7 minutes and 26 seconds. So just to be clear, that's what this hypothesis is. Okay. We have delta 1, we measured 1 hour, 7 minutes and 26 seconds. Delta 2, we've measured also comes to 1 hour, 7 minutes and 26 seconds. And now we have delta 3, which is the missing time right at the 4 a.m. hour, which matches what Pav is saying. This time cut happens right at 4 a.m. Guys, let me know what you think about these finds. And, you know, I'm like very certain my math is correct here. But did I make a mistake in methodology? Like, go ahead and challenge me. This channel is all about critical thinking. And if I'm wrong, my heart's not going to be broken. I'm not married to this. I'm just showing you that it's pretty crazy that I can match the delta of time down to the second over and over and over again. I mean, to ignore that is really, that's a pretty profound thing to ignore. Wouldn't you agree? So they did a pretty good job covering their ass, but the math still doesn't lie. I should not be able to match these deltas down to the second over and over and over again thrice. Yeah, let me know what you think. Much love. Till next time, everybody. Peace out.
So to Smiling Sleuth, just to clarify, it was a very small error. It doesn't negate any of it. And I'm not sure what the point of the comment is, but he then puts out another video and corrects it. So it's one of the best videos I've ever seen when it comes to this case. Standing ovation for Sherlock Holmes. And I actually have a live feed into one of the offices. This is obviously a joke of the Moscow Police Department. Here's a live look, everybody. This is them seeing that Sherlock had his video played on Birdie's channel, and Sherlock continues to piece it together. This is Chief Fry. Oh, God. What's he going to get? Oh, not the sludge hammer. Oh! Chief Fry. No, stop. It's taxpayer dollars. Hey, you don't care about that. I guess you're just chasing it the wrong guy for 2+ years, millions of dollars, but what's 300 more for an old computer? You clown puncher. Jesus. Bravo, Sherlock Holmes. Bravo. Absolutely a great job on that. And to be honest, there's not much to say other than just this is incredible. It's absolutely incredible what we just watched. We watched people piece together what I would argue Ann Taylor and Bryan Kohberger's defense team did and knew in May of 2024, as it stated. We were able to do it in a short matter of time. In the whole scope of this, with how much everything has been sealed, everything's been redacted, how much we've been lied to, all of the narratives pushed down our throats, the NPC armies coming at anybody who questions it and shames you because you're disrespecting victims, apparently. Well, what's disrespectful to the victims' families is that the wrong dude's in jail. The wrong person is in jail. That is the undercover cop car that is suspect vehicle 1. That is not Bryan Kohberger's car. It just makes me so fucking pissed. I'm sorry to cuss. It's just unbelievable. And in a way, I think I'm done pretending this is normal. Okay. This is the biggest pile of bullshit I've ever seen in my life. Took a blurry ass picture of a car. They put it out to the world. It was a picture of a picture on top of that. There's not a face. There's not a license plate. Not a single shred of proof. There's just blobless photos of everything on a parking lot camera. And somehow that turned into, we got them, boys. People ate it up. What is the saying? Hook, line, and sinker. You never saw Bryan in that car. Nobody did. They just told you it was him. And so many normies and NPCs just nodded along like a goddamn bobblehead. Trust us, bro. Just trust us. We're the cops. It's a whole case. That is the entire case. And there's going to be people that watch this stream and see that video played, or they're going to go watch Sherlock's, or they're going to watch, Pavarotti's, where they're piecing it together, and they're not just reading James Patterson's book, which I had somebody comment on my post saying that if I wanted a full refund for it, Amazon would give it to me. Now, if Dawn, if you want it back, I will ship it back to you if you want to get your money back for the book. I still kind of want to go through it and read it, but you let me know. I'll ship it back. You want to get your money back. If they're doing that, we can arrange it. You find out suspect vehicle 1 just so happens to take the same path at the exact same time as the undercover cop car. And then, as Sherlock just proved, suddenly every single clock is magically off by the same 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds. I'm sure that's a total coincidence. It's got to be. That's not sloppy police work. It's like fully cooked acknowledgement of what we're doing. We are for sure going to, take the time to stamps back. People aren't going to figure it out. And we did it for a very long time. The media, I would say the media's in on it too. They're going to keep showing you that grainy loop of the car passing, and you got Keith, whatever. The dateline. Oh my God. It hurts. It hurts, Hive. It hurts. The sick and disgusting part about this is that there's a couple things. Anybody that says that we've been disrespectful to victims' families for trying to find the truth, I can promise you that the things that have been said to me and other creators or in the comments of people in the Hive is way worse, 1,000,000 times worse than anything we've ever said about the victims. Jokes aside. And I saw a comment from somebody, and also too, I want to point out, there was the last 2 nights, we had people from the Hive submit stories about their victim impact statements because their children were murdered. And they agree that that statement that we heard and that entire ordeal that we watched, it didn't feel right. So yeah, there's people that have been in that situation. So you can say to me, and yeah, fortunately, I haven't been in that situation, but it's not like I haven't had to grieve in my life. I'm not trying to equate one grievance is worse than the other, or this one's less or that. No, like grieving anybody's loss sucks. But I can also promise you, okay, so here, I'll open up. My father died of cancer. He held my hand as he died. My name was his last words out of his breath, or on his last breath, my name was his last word. Okay. It was really hard to get over, and I'm not downplaying that. But I can promise you that if somebody came up to me and talked shit about that for whatever reason, right? I'm not saying anybody has, or if somebody made, a cancer joke or whatever, I can tell you that the grief and the impact of actually holding his hand as that was happening will never compare to a stranger on the internet commenting on it, or somebody in passing making a joke that's not direct. Okay. The worst part about a loss is the loss itself because of the relationship with that person, not because of random strangers commenting on a worldwide true crime case that has hundreds of thousands of articles, hundreds of thousands of interviews. How many clips? Mainstream media, mega corporations are making millions. Not us, not the people that, aren't just speculating the exact same way that it came out that they are, where the effing prosecutor is in the New York Times telling everybody like, yeah, I don't know where that came from. And then you listen to the investigators, they say, no, he didn't stalk him at the Mag Greek. Well, I got this damn book that James Patterson wrote that says that that's what happened. So if you're cool with that and you're cool with a man's life being ended on Trust Us, Bro, and a blurry fucking JPEG, you're not just asleep. Because there's going to come a day when people look back at this and they're going to say, why didn't somebody say something? And it's like, we did. We were. And it's not even to say, haha, we were right, you were wrong. No, it's not that. It's that when we did say it, we were ridiculed. We were mocked. We were kicked out. We were blocked. We were called pro-burgers. No, we're not. We don't want a guilty man to get away with murder. We want the right person in jail for the murder. So I would argue that it's not like you're just asleep. Like at that point, you are a part of the problem. And the problem is not just pertinent to this case. The problem is on the bigger scope of, because you get so emotionally invested in something, you can't think logically, you can't hear out somebody else's opinion, and you refuse to look at facts. There's a pattern. There's always a pattern in the media to get people divided. There is very obvious inconsistencies. And as I said, the disrespectfulness to the family is that if Bryan didn't do it, and Bryan was framed or Bryan set up, and you know what? A part of me does hope that this is some operation and we watched some sort of show trial so that real bad guys could get taken off the street, because it would have been too dangerous for the public to know about it as it was still ongoing. But if this is real and they railroaded Bryan Kohberger like this with manipulating timestamps down to the effing second, everybody, that is disrespectful to the victims' families for putting the wrong dude in jail and railroading him and dragging them along the entire time and not going out and looking for the real killers. So I just like blacked out there. Sorry. I'm sorry. It bothers me. I'm passionate. I'm very passionate about people critically thinking and questioning narratives and not just going about their day, not being present and just saying, yes, okay, yes. I mean, jokes aside, yeah, do I come on stream and will I put on a tinfoil hat and I'll play an intro video and I'll do all that? Of course. At the end of the day, I'm doing this stream because I enjoy to look and think critically through things in that like mindset and that mood. That's how you know what, believe it or not, it's okay to be happy and enjoy looking into stuff and researching and learning. It's okay to still want to be learning, everybody. And if you want to put a tinfoil hat on, or if you want to be very serious, or if you want to be very methodical, and if you want to print the court docs, or if you want to, look at Linda Lane footage and enhance the audio, you know what? At the end of the day, you're using your brain, you're critically thinking, you're not just going along with the news that's gotten us into this giant cluster F that we are. And so I think with all that being said, yeah, there needs to be justice for the Idaho 4. If Bryan Kohberger is really being railroaded, and that was really the undercover cop's car as a suspect vehicle 1, that's all we heard about, along with all the other stuff, the stalking, the Mad Greek, the burner phones, the wiping the phone, the thumbs up pictures, calling his parents right after it went down the next morning. Give me a break. Give me a break. Appreciate that, Sandra and Tooney. I like to think Tooney probably said, tell him to breathe, Mom. So, with that being said, Hive, I can't. There's certain things that after I watch it, I can't continue to dive into it because they checked every box. Like, I have a love-hate relationship when that happens. But, like, that video checked every box. I don't know what else more you could say about it. You know what I'm saying? It was down to the second. So, Hive, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. I go live every weeknight at 7 p.m. Central. It's a little bit shorter of a stream, but that's all right. Shout out to Sherlock Romes for sharing that with me. Shout out to everybody who tunes in here at the Hive. And as Devil's Advocate said, if this does get appealed and this does go to a trial, like, then game on. But even if it doesn't, that video needs to go mega viral in the true crime Kohberger community. And I have no problem saying that we told you so. And it's not in a arrogant, condescending, haha, we're smarter than you in the Hive. No. That doesn't help anything either. Okay, so don't get it twisted and start going and talking shit to them now that there's this piecing together of the body cam, because you can't put an hour, 7 minutes, and 26 seconds together that many times, lining it up with video footage if they didn't manipulate it. So, Hive, I hope you all have a great rest of your night. And like I said, I will be back on tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Central. Because this was a little bit shorter of a stream, I'm going to grab a bite to eat quick, and I will be in the Discord in about 15 or 20 minutes. So join the lounge. And with that being said, I'll finish with Sherlock Rome's comment of, yeah, it feels awful to be right. Honestly, we want to trust the people we are supposed to be able to trust. Cheers, everybody.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.